Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Yes, I know, today we're going to be talking about goals. And I have a mixed relationship with goals. I'm terrible at New Year's resolutions, and any silly goals to like wake up by 7 never actually happen. But today I want to share with you the tips and tricks I have come up with over the past few years working for myself. So I'm going to try my best to make this topic more exciting than it is, but I only have 5 steps and they have proven to really help me accomplish a lot of different projects. Like I started my subscription box doing these steps. I am currently working on building a business coaching thing. I'm not entirely sure, it's in like the original stages of it, but I want to be able to offer sessions and webinars to you guys if you want to start your own business and everything, no matter where you are in the process. I want to give the knowledge that I've obtained to you. So that is a goal of mine, to start that program. So 5 easy steps. Let's get into it. I feel a little bit rambly because the topic's not that exciting. So I'm trying to be like, it's going to be great, but let's just do it. So the first step is you need to figure out what your goal is. So I'm sure you've heard about SMART goals before, but let's just go back through it again. So it needs to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. And time-bound is a really difficult thing for me that I've had to work with. Usually my goals are quite relevant, definitely when they're coming to business. Like the, let's start with that, specific. I want to create a business coaching workshop online. Measurable. It'll be done when it exists and I've opened it up to my first session attendees. Is it attainable? Yes, definitely. I have tons of knowledge. I know exactly what I need to do and how to set it up. Is it relevant? I think so. I think a lot of people are looking for this. Every time we do workshops and talk about business, people seem really interested. And then time bound. So this one is, when am I going to do this? So once you figure out what your goal is, you need to give it a deadline. Whether it's a year from now, 2 years from now, 6 months from now, you need to write this down in your planner. You need to put it down, make it known, write it somewhere, and like set yourself to it. So once you picked your goal, you've determined if it's specific, measurable, all of that, you need to sit down and do step number 2. And this is gonna seem super overwhelming and you're gonna be like, why am I doing this? There's too much to do. I don't know if I can do it. But trust me, go along with this journey, you'll see what I'm talking about. So you want to sit down and write down all of the objectives, every little thing you need to do in order to accomplish this goal. So for the business coaching thing, for example, it's going to be the example in this video because it's what I'm currently working on. And if you want more information about it, specifically, there is a link down in the description so you can go check that out and sign up to get updates as progress and more news comes out. Regardless, okay. So let's use that, continue using that as an example. So I wrote down every single thing I possibly have to do to accomplish that goal. I wrote down that I need to start a landing page, which I've already done. I need to create a newsletter. I need to develop which of the categories I'm going to talk about. So like subscription boxes, starting a sticker shop, how to start your own business, tax stuff. Every possible avenue I want to cover. I need to create workbooks for it. I need to create a timeline, and so on and so forth. So whatever your goal is, write all that stuff down. It's going to seem overwhelming. It's going to be daunting, but having that list is going to make the next steps so much easier. So you know exactly what you need to accomplish, what's a realistic time frame that you can actually accomplish it based on whether or not you have a real job, a family, or something. See what you need to do and determine a good deadline that fits with how much you need to accomplish and what your lifestyle is. Which moves us into step number 3, is pick a deadline. Pick a day that you're gonna launch this goal or you're gonna make it happen. So once you pick that day, I have picked, I think, July 1st, if I remember correctly. Pick a certain day, pick it, write it down, put it in your planner, put a big sticky note down there, or even actually write it in your planner so it's like set in stone. Post the dates everywhere. Like really make that deadline obvious to you so you know exactly when you have to get everything done. And then I also highly suggest putting countdown reminders. So if you're picking someplace in July, the 1st of every month, say 2 months until deadline, 3 months until starting business workshop, that sort of thing. So that you aren't surprised as things start getting closer. Nothing is worse than turning into the next month in your planner and being like, oh crap, I have this huge deadline and I was not prepared. I didn't know it was coming. And definitely if you pick the 1st of the month, it can kind of sneak up on you more than like the middle of the month. So definitely make sure you have countdown reminders throughout your planner. So now that you've picked your deadline and you have your huge objective list, you want to work backwards from that deadline. So mine is July 1st. I'm gonna look at my list, determine what order things need to go in, and then work in my planner backwards. So the last thing that I probably need to do is send out a newsletter letting people know that the workshop slots are gonna be opening in 3 days. So I'll put that in my calendar on that day that I want to do that and work backwards. So I will go all the way backwards through April and May and write down all of the objectives into my planner based on when I need to get them done, all the way up to today. Like, what am I working on today to achieve this goal? That way your objectives clearly have dates and deadlines attached to them, but it's kind of like a roadmap or a little path that leads you to that deadline. So by the time you get there, you should be set. You should not be worried or felt like you procrastinated because you've broken it up into bite-sized pieces that you can do over the course of however long you've given yourself. So it's not so overwhelming. It's not going to be the whole list over a weekend. You can break it up and really focus on each step to make sure that you're doing it well and that you can accomplish everything that you have set your goals for. So that is more on the weekly basis. Step 3 with picking the deadline is more of a monthly overview, and now you're doing weekly, where this week I want to make sure I do these 3 things. And then you want to move into the 5th and final step, which is giving it a daily to-do list. So the way I like to do it is I break up my objectives, like this week I want to do these 5 objectives, this week 4, whatever, all the way to the deadline. And then I pick which days during the week that are best for me to work on them. So if I'm really busy on Monday and Tuesday for meetings, I'll make sure to put those objectives maybe on Wednesday and Thursday. And it will adjust and change. You don't want to always say, okay, on Mondays I'm going to work on this, unless your schedule is really consistent, if that makes sense. So use your overview and your timeline map to pick specific days that you want to break down your objectives. So that is just really a brief overview of how I use my planner to achieve goals. It really helps to take such a big project that's overwhelming, like the business coaching, and making it much more manageable. I'm not trying to create everything at once. I know that this week I'm working on the subscription box materials, and next week I'm going to work on which platform I'm going to use for my webinar. It's going to be so much easier to achieve larger tasks if you break it up in this way. I will leave all of the steps in the description, and if you want more information, definitely let me know. I'm more than happy to film continued videos along this series, but I kind of wanted to do a quick overview of what I do to make sure that I can achieve goals. But let me know in the comments if you do something different. Do you stick with these kind of steps? Have you never really done this before? How do you achieve things in your planner? Are you a last-minute procrastinator and then you're like, oh crap, I gotta do everything in a day? Or do you really plan it out ahead of time? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below, and if you have any questions, put them down there as well. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next one, so be sure to subscribe. Bye!